Our skills applied to current events. Does the media contribute in any way to the growth of violence in our society? And if so, how? The answer seems to center around two other questions. How is the news reported? And how is the news not reported? Why is violence so predominant in media coverage, both in the print media and electronic, both in news and in entertainment? Is it because more violence takes place? No. Undoubtedly, far more human problems and conflicts are handled non-violently, or we would all be dead. Just as history texts largely have been purveyors of violent military history, the mass media in America has been obsessed with glamorizing violence and sensationalism. It has been said that if we read about or hear about something 5 times, we know it is true. If we do not read or hear about it, then we know it is not happening. Consequently, the type of reporting going on is causing citizens to be more fearful and hence to have greater tendencies toward violence. A good example comes from a study made by Washington's Center for Media and Public Affairs. Although government tallies found no substantial increase in crime or in violent crime rates in 1993, that year the number of crime news stories doubled on ABC, CBS, and NBC evening news shows, from 830 to 1698, with murders tripling from 104 to 329. When nonviolent events are not covered, the public does not think they are happening. Furthermore, they learn nothing of the principles, skills, techniques, and strategies involved in forging successful nonviolent solutions. Perhaps, even more importantly, they learn little of organization, working on promoting and leading nonviolence, which, if properly informed, they might join and help strengthen. But there may be still a more negative role which the media plays. Not only is there violence reporting overkill and nonviolence reporting neglect, but there's also a factual distortion. Like I assume many of you did, I grew up believing we in America were blessed with an open, free, and truthful press, making us the best informed citizens of any country in the world. I would like to relate a few personal experiences which shattered that illusion for me. In the early 1980s, the Nuclear Weapons Freeze Resolution was the largest single initiative on ballots across the country. However, election night, you would have twisted your dial all night long and never have heard a report on any of that voting. The Nuclear Freeze Resolution passed the city councils of Cleveland, Youngstown, and Akron in Ohio. All such meetings are covered by reporters from the 3 daily newspapers in these cities. However, not a one of those 3 papers reported on the resolution passage. Later, I received a letter from a woman whose brother-in-law visited Taipei, Taiwan. She sent me a letter in which she said she thought I would like to read the enclosed clipping he had sent her. It was from the China Daily News, evidently an English language newspaper there. What do you think the article said? Quote, "The Nuclear Weapons Freeze Resolution passed the Cleveland City Council," unquote. Thereafter, I started telling people they would have to subscribe to Far Eastern newspapers to keep posted on their town's events. Why do we have the situation we do? One managing editor told a group of us who had called on him to discuss such things that if we thought the role of the newspaper was to work on reform, institute more justice, etc., we were dead wrong. Instead, he said the newspaper is a business, as are radio and TV. Its purpose is to make money. This means less investigative reporting, for one thing. Investigation costs money. It is much cheaper to use press releases from the government and other organizations. One time I read that the White House public relations budget was double that of CBS, NBC, ABC News, Associated Press, and the then UPI wire services, the 10 largest newspapers, and Time, Newsweek, and U.S. News combined. Double all of that. In addition, the corporations have their huge public relations budgets. Why is this so important? Is any administration, public or private, going to put out a release saying we are doing a lousy job, or there is a lot of corruption and waste in our organization, or even we have been wrong in our stand? Money governs the media, as it does many things. Organizations working for peace, justice, nonviolence have very, very meager resources. But what can individuals do? There are always 3 steps to social improvement of any kind. First is awareness. Unless citizens, and that includes you and me, know something is happening, certain people are suffering, whatever, absolutely nothing is going to change. Here are some suggestions for building awareness. Over the next year, try to get fully acquainted with an alternative news source presently unknown to you and not part of the mass media. Compare reporting in it with your usual mass media source. The second step to improvement is concern. Citizens can be very informed, but unless that information leads them to a deep and abiding concern about the problems which they have uncovered, then again, nothing is going to change. Here, contact with those who are suffering from the situation and or those who are working on the problem will do the most to develop concern, as long as there is, in the first place, a value system which cares about others. Joining an activist group will do much. Concern is essential because without a concern, no person is going to act. And without action, again, there will be no change. Thirdly, action means doing something about it. What are some things one might do? Being alone in a concern can make one feel powerless. However, even one person can critique the media and write letters to the editor, call into radio talk shows, or visit media offices, pointing out concerns. Regardless of the position one may hold on any issue, the purpose of this article is to stress the importance to democracy, to justice, and to violence reduction and prevention. For the mass media, somehow, all sides of every issue. Name-calling as well should be dropped. Liberal, conservative, radical tend to eliminate real, essential dialogue. They wave flags in some people's minds which prevent further listening and shut off further communication and worthy analysis. Only when citizens have all of the facts can human problems be solved and violence be reduced. It is the responsibility of the media to see that this happens. Only then can current events really be dealt with effectively and constructively.